I'm pretty convinced we're living in the best timeline ever. Yep, as Ross Ulbricht is finally free after 9+ years of incarceration, facing double life sentences and the slander and lies of the corporate media, the man has finally been released as Donald Trump has kept one of his biggest, most important libertarian promises, and he delivered, marking him, I think, one of the best presidents ever, as of course there are still a lot of important things to talk about this larger move, as it's not just symbolic of a larger political victory for the libertarians, but the future of the Republican political party, as of course these are the first images that really kind of make me feel, to be honest, a little emotional. This has been a long time in the making. I remember covering this case. As soon as it happened, there was a lot of lore around this case. There was a lot of lies around this particular case, especially from the corporate media, that every step of the way here, along with the federal agents here, lied through their teeth here. The injustice was grave. And I remember being at a lot of the court proceedings for Ross Ulbricht. I remember meeting his mom, interviewing his mom for the first time ever. Before she ever did any interviews, she spoke to us before she spoke to anyone else, as of course the corporate media wasn't giving her a fair shake. The corporate media was lying about her son. And then every step of the way here, I remember meeting Lynn. I remember having this conversation with her in Dallas at the Bitcoin conference 10+ years ago. And I'm like, holy cow, this woman has a huge uphill battle with her larger case. I mean, the chances of her getting her son released after a double life sentence, after the smear campaigns, after the government so viciously went after her son and made her son an example for just the total politicization of the online space. As of course, we got to remember what Ross did, Mark Zuckerberg does every freaking day. He creates a platform where people do certain stuff. Now, of course, there's different things that were, of course, enabled here and more allowed to be done here. But essentially, you're looking at a huge case when it comes to freedom of speech, especially when it comes to online here. As I think Brandon Herrera put things very well politically here for this larger sentiment for the bigger political ramifications here, as he said regarding Ross Ulbricht. Republicans, if you don't realize the impact of the libertarian independent vote had on the 2024 landslide due to things like Trump promising to pardon Ross, you're blind. Absolutely. As of course, a lot of people blame the Libertarian Party for Donald Trump losing the 2020 election. And there's a lot of pollsters and a lot of political scientists that say, hey, if you would have added up all the numbers, if you would have had the Libertarians instead of Jill Stein, you could have probably won this one. As of course, the race in 2020 was a lot closer than a lot of people expected it to be. As of course, there's also some larger questions about this kind of record turnout and how that was allowed to happen. And now there's also a message to libertarians that I've been fighting every step of the way here as well. As of course, a lot of the libertarians are my friends. A lot of them are naysayers. A lot of them are little negative Nancys. A lot of them are black pillars. I made jokes that they've been suppositorying their black pills inside of themselves because they just want to believe just the worst and most negative aspects of government. And this, I think, is the time where you got to slap them up. Be like, wake up! Wake up! We got one of our guys free, one of our people free, one of our causes, one of the things that we've been arguing for and calling for and fighting for 10+ years has happened because Donald Trump said, yeah, these guys matter. And if you take that and you spit back at Donald Trump, you're a fool and you're an idiot. And that's sort of similar to what Brandon Herrera says, saying, libertarians, if you don't understand the significance of a president taking office and immediately fulfilling promises to the libertarian community, you are the problem. Absolutely, 100%. Now, I wouldn't say you are the problem. I mean, that's pretty harsh here. But at the same time, do you want to win or do you want to lose? And I would want to see people coming out and saying, hey, Trump Thank you. This was actually pretty good. Now, there's going to be doomers. There's going to be black pillars. There's going to be negative Nancys that are still, no, but they're still going to finagle some kind of way around this, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And truly, this is the time to say thank you. This is the time to appreciate the freedom that was granted, the political prisoners that are being released right now in such a historic way here, because Donald Trump, especially with his larger message here, didn't just pander to the Libertarian Party, but he sent a message to the corrupted DOJ that has been going after him so viciously, and all of his supporters and all of the other independent media that had their doors broken down by the FBI. James O'Keefe, Roger Stone, friends of mine, literally had their doors broken in by the FBI. They were raided by the FBI because of their political thoughts and ideas and expressions. Trump was served a search warrant. I mean, the levels of how low these people snooped in order to try to investigate, go after, and stop and stifle political dissent was absolutely crazy. As let's just read some of Donald Trump's statements here, because I think they're big here. He says, "I just called the mother of Ross Ulbricht." And I've been in touch with Ross's mother's as well. And I was talking to her. I was like, hey, did it happen? Did it happen day zero? No. Day one, it did happen. Technically, day one was yesterday. Today's day two. It did happen. He did keep his promise. But Donald Trump says, I called Ross's mother to let her know that in honor of her and the libertarian movement, which supported me so strongly, they did. It was my pleasure to have just signed a full and unconditional pardon of her son, Ross. The scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who were involved in the modern-day weaponization of government against me. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Ridiculous. Absolutely. Saying scum here? That's a big statement, because we're talking about the highest levels of federal prosecutors being called scum. And the way that they handled this case, the way that they stole the Bitcoin here, the way that the FBI agents were implicated here, especially with all the high levels of corruption that they were involved here, yeah, scum. Now, the fact that he's also given a full pardon, huge. He could have commuted the sentence. He could have saved face. A lot of people were saying he's not going to do it. There's too many rhino Republicans that are not going to like it. He did it, and he did it in a bombastic way, saying F you to the corrupted DOJ system that has absolutely taken advantage of the American public and screwed us over, which is amazing and beautiful to see. I still got more to say. Dave Smith had some really interesting comments about this. But before I do, if you like the shirt that I'm wearing that says Viva la Libertad, carajo! Get it right now on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. We're releasing a lot of really awesome stuff there, by the way. A lot of stuff I can't show you here on this particular platform, but you can wear it in public. You can wear it at the airport. You can wear it at the supermarket. You can wear it everywhere you go. And that's the beautiful part of buying a t-shirt you get to do, or a hat, your lazy form of activism. There's so many people that wore the Free Ross shirts that were so important. I got like 20 of them. We got like hundreds of Free Ross signs everywhere, by the way. We decided not to do any kind of merch with that, because that's specifically on freeross.org, which you could probably go and support Ross. I already messaged Lynn, and I sent them this message, which I think you guys are going to find funny here. As hold on, let me try to pull this up really quick here as we go on here. Did I post it? I don't think I did post it. It says Donald Trump punishes Ross Ulbricht by summoning him to Libertarian podcast for the next 20 years. I sent them that right away, because it's like, yeah, we want to hear from Ross. Again, we want to give them their space. If you've just been freed after, and again, this is the amazing part here. Ross never gave up hope. Ross knew. He was like, no, I'm gonna be free. His mother knew. And I was convinced as soon as I heard about this story, as soon as I got to know him, as soon as I started to pay close attention to all of this, I was like, there's no way, man. And I felt so sad. And I interviewed Lynn almost every year, especially at PorkFest. And I was like, man, this is an important case. I'll still fight for it. But it was such a sad case. And now it's such a freaking happy case. And I can't thank Donald Trump enough. I can't thank Angela McArdle. I can't thank Lynn. This is a big moment. And this is a moment, I think, moving forward in a political direction that's going to be very significant, especially when it comes to this new Republican political party that no longer is pandering to these kind of neocons, these bloodthirsty, failed individuals that destroyed this country ever since 2001. He's creating a new kind of Republican Party, an America First libertarian kind of based, freedom-oriented, capitalistic party. That's freaking amazing. And if you're still someone who is saying, no, he's bad, you're not paying attention to what's going on here. Dave Smith, I think, had the best comments here as well, saying, I love that Trump didn't just commute Ross, but he gave him a full pardon and was so vicious about the people who put him behind bars. Scum was the perfect description, absolutely. After more than a decade of insane wokeism, I understand why there has been a rise in hardcore right-wing sentiments. When dudes in dresses are giving lap dances to 11-year-olds, put them against the wall tweet is much more satisfying than a message about individual liberty, and that's understandable. And he goes on and he apologizes to the bleeding heart libertarians and pretty much gives the same message that I'm giving here. And then Brandon Herrera was also giving here, specifically talking about this larger big moment as Donald Trump is still continuing on his larger pathways to victory, as he is now also going to be issuing policies that are going to be getting rid some of the vicious regulations surrounding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, which of course is going to be huge. He also, by the way, just got rid of Lyndon Johnson's executive order, which established affirmative action. He is banning all federal contractors and publicly funded universities from practicing race-based discrimination, including DEI. Yet another major victory. Thomas Massey, last night on the Timcast IRL show, shared this letter from Ross that he got. I'm going to play it at the end of this particular video because it's worth watching. It's worth paying attention to. I forgot to still finish my freaking plug here, because this is how you support independent media that's suffering and dealing with a lot of the heavy burdens of government that try to stop it, like me. SaveLukeNow.com. That's an actual website, by the way. And again, I don't want to make this just about me, but yes, that is an actual website. We're facing huge, insurmountable attacks by the IRS. That's not really helping us out here. So buy a shirt, but more importantly, buy a shirt, because when you wear the shirt, like the Free Ross shirt or these other shirts, you send a message to your community. You send a message to the general public saying that you are no longer afraid. You will no longer hide. You are a strong-minded, freedom-oriented human being. And that right there is a beautiful message to share with your neighbors, with your community, that you will foster and grow and build through, of course, meeting like-minded individuals, which you do through getting these shirts on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Click the link down in the description. Even if you're not intending on buying anything, check out some of the memes. Check out some of the stuff we have there that will absolutely make you chuckle, that will make you laugh, and truly is something that we started because we were censored on social media. We were like, hey, we were fully demonetized. What are we going to do now? Well, we're going to sell shirts like this one that I have right now, which you could find just by going into here to the latest shirts, typing in one of the keywords here. I typed in Viva into the latest shirts, and it says, Viva la libertad, carajo! Famous saying by Javier Milei. And then that's how you find the shirts. So if you ever see me wearing a shirt, put in one of the keywords and one of the words in the shirts here in the little text box here, and bada bing, bada boom. That's how you get it here. As of course, we have a lot more to say to you, as we're going to leave you here with this message from Thomas Massey, which is really important, especially in this larger kind of moment that we really need to understand the larger significance of. This is big. This is when the libertarians need to go, this is great. Let's keep building. Let's keep growing. Let's keep winning. Okay? There's two pathways in the roads. The autistic, suppository, black-pilled, negative Nancy way, which is filled with a lot of just individuals who will never be happy. Individuals who always, I just hate negative people. I hate being around negative people. Take your wins. Take Take your blessings. Take the victories. Why the hell aren't you doing that? What the hell's wrong with you? Are you that negatively impacted in this reticular activation system where you just can't get your head out of your own butt? Really? This is the time to win, to collect that victory, and to build a pathway forward with freedom, liberty, capitalism. This is the way. And it's being done. So help instead of deter. Help us build and grow this larger coalition so these bloodthirsty, warmongering neocons don't take hold and grip of power. And again, I got so much criticism for supporting Donald Trump. There's so many individuals, whether it's David Icke, that's been on me viciously about this specific issue, which is such a huge letdown, since clearly that guy's not even trying to communicate with me. He's not trying to even answer my messages. I'm reaching out to him, be like, hey man, you don't understand. There's bigger things at play here. I was like, hey man, there's wars. There's that are going to be ended. There's a lot at stake here. And I'm like, hey man, let's talk. Let's do a show. And still, no, just vicious attacks. Luke, so that, Luke. If I sold that to free Ross, yeah, free Ross. Hell yeah. Sold that to end wars? Yeah. This is everything we ever wanted on a silver platter. Let's receive it, okay? And then let's be grateful and let's build instead of just trying to destroy, as some people just want to utterly destroy. And those people, I think, within the last few hours, definitely need to do some reflection on their thoughts and their larger kind of destructive behavior that doesn't serve any purpose other than just to crap and poop on everything. I'm like, controlled opposition. Because what other way would it be better to stop the larger coalitions that we're building than to, of course, crap on it right away to prevent it from even happening? And if those people would have gotten their ways, they would have still been complaining. They would have still been whining. They would have still been moaning. Government bad. You dummy. Family-friendly show here. I got other words I want to say here, but again, Thomas Macy, great congressman. Some would say the greatest congressman, had this to say.
Ross wrote me on December 14th of this year, and his mom, Lynn, gave this to me. And I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this because it's personal, but it brought a tear to my eye. Mr. Massey, Inauguration Day fast approaches, and my hopes are running high that our new president will quickly put an end to my incarceration once he is sworn in. As I await the beginning of my new life in freedom, I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for your part in bringing about this wonderful outcome. You have consistently been a powerful voice in the public sphere, supporting my campaign for freedom. So my imminent release is as much a victory for you as it is for me and my family. Thank you for every single time you supported me, both publicly and in private. You put your faith and confidence in me. And now that I'm getting my second chance, I promise to make you proud that you did. I would love to connect with you once I am on the other side of these walls to see how I can help further the cause of freedom. So he's already thinking about what he can do. I know Josie's crying. I cried when I read this. I've read it twice, practiced it without. This is the first time I've been able to read it without crying. Because this is, like you were saying, Tim, this is a personal example of how an election matters, down to somebody who was going to rot in prison, was rotting in prison. And by the way, Ross, he didn't even, he was willing to settle for less than what Trump gave him. He was willing to settle to have a sentence commuted, which means you're basically guilty, an admission of guilt, but your sentence is over. You've served enough time. And it was a ridiculous over-sentencing, regardless of the guilt or not. I think it's a violation of the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment to our Constitution says no cruel or unusual punishment. Why should you get 2 life sentences plus 40 years?
Well, explain what he's accused. What was he accused of doing?
Running a website that allowed people to buy and sell drugs, for instance, using Bitcoin. I think they made an example out of him because they didn't want people using Bitcoin. And now it's far more mainstream, but I think that's one of the reasons they did it.
But I think we should clarify. I guess the website allowed people to buy and trade. what people did with it after the fact was what the people did with it.
Well, MasterCard lets you pay for prostitutes, right? You like.
Yeah. Great point by Thomas Massey, as of course. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.